comes Neville. He looks quite upset. Best go and see what he wants. Please help me.
So Longbottom has gone snivelling to you, and you want me to give you his precious Remembrall. I think I'll leave it somewhere for Longbottom to collect. How about up a tree? Think you can catch me? Come on then, Potter.
Give me back Neville's Remembrall, Malfoy.
You want the Remembrall back? See if you can catch it. And you better watch out for my bludgers. You damaged my broomstick, Potter! You'll pay for this! Here, take this stupid thing. I've no use for it.
You've got my Remembrall back. Thanks, Harry. I'll be able to find my toad now. Come here, Trevor. Come back. I remember now. I left Trevor near the herbology class. There are plants there that eat toads.
Mr. Potter, I'm Professor McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress of Hogwarts and Head of Gryffindor House. Although I do not approve of your chasing Malfoy about, I'll admit you have remarkable talent on a broomstick. Ordinarily, first-year students may not compete in Quidditch. In your case, we might overlook that rule. Harry, Gryffindor's first Quidditch match of the year is later this afternoon against the formidable Slytherin team. See you then.
Okay.
What up?
Bruh, I'm almost done with this grocery shopping.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. Okay. By the way, did you hear what happened the other day?
What?
A mayor and I think two or three Congress representatives got arrested yesterday.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah, they got arrested by ICE.
That's crazy. What, were they, like, illegal?
No, what happened was apparently, ICE had set up a detention center,
Yep.
aka a prison facility there, and according to what they said, they tried to have fire inspectors come in and inspect the place, and that supposedly they didn't allow access for that, and so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is that if the feds are doing things, usually they do things on the up and up when it comes to stuff like that. And as it turned out, they absolutely had fire inspections actually take place and looked into. However, this became a huge ordeal, and then it became a protest.
Damn.
Outside of the facility, right? And they didn't like the fact that, you know, that the feds were using a detention facility there when it was just an abandoned building at one point. But the feds came in, they took it, they bought it, right? They did all the paperwork, got it inspected, worked everything out, and then they turned it into a detention center. However, the mayor finding out about this was not happy because, you know, he's woke. He's woke as hell.
Yeah.
And he went to protest about it.
Yeah.
Now, when he went to protest about it, he told, you know, everyone about it, right?
Yeah. And what happened then?
Well, let me just put it this way. Homeland Security even told him that he should not do what he was about to do.
Damn.
That didn't work out. Like, at all.
Yeah, no, I bet.
Because immediately as he was doing got done doing his speech, which, you know, they were kind enough to let him actually complete his speech and say what he needed to say. But after it was all said and done, they just basically went out there in full kit and gear and basically arrested him right on the spot. Now, they immediately tried to fight the police about this, by the way.
Yeah.
They tried to fight the police and they tried to fight the feds, and they started shoving and pushing and screaming, yelling, the works, right? But, you know, 3 Congress members and the mayor was arrested on trespassing charges.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's wild, though.
Yeah. I just find it strange how we live in a time where we got people who are in power, in seats of power, right? But they think they're powerless, so they think they have to become activists.
Yeah.
Right? and I'm just like, bro, we live in some seriously wild times.
Yeah, no, for real.
And with the way that certain people think, also, like, take AOC for example. She was doubling down. She actually was caught recently doubling down on what she said in her statement about when she went public with a video where she actually was talking about how to slow down ICE from doing their job.
Crazy.
And mind you, that's, you know, aiding and abetting criminals. And
No,
so that's such a wild take that a congresswoman like her, who, from what I understand, is the most popular person in the Democrat Party right now, and their top pick, quote unquote, for who's slated to be running for president
Yeah.
for the next upcoming election. That's a wild take. I mean,
Nah, for real though, that shit is kind of crazy.
it is. I mean, you think about it, it really is. Because, like, she's supposed to be slated to become the next president electee, right? Like, for running for presidency, right?
Yeah.
According to the left. And yet, she's absolutely throwing herself under the bus by committing what is effectively a felony.
Yeah, nah, for real.
And the DOJ, you know, like even Tom Holton from ICE actually informed the DOJ about it and said, "Hey, you need to do an investigation into her."
Yeah.
So they are absolutely investigating her right now.
Yeah, no,
You know?
I definitely don't blame him. That shit's wild.
And it's like, bro, this is, and what I don't understand is why this is the hill the Democrats feel they need to die on.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is what they need to support. I don't understand that. Like, I have nothing wrong against with people coming to this country.
Yeah, no, for real. It's just they gotta do it legitly.
They just have to do it legitly. Like, that's just it. That's all they have to do. And it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
No, for real. They act like it's impossible.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just like literally, even if it's a financial issue, it's like, come here, you know, claim asylum,
Yeah.
get vetted, right?
Yeah.
And then immediately start working a job, right? You'll make more money here, even on, like, even on, you know, a minimum income wage, which we already know that for by and large, most illegal immigrants who have been here have been working for less than a legal minimum wage. And they still manage out fine.
Mm-hmm. No, that is true.
Yet, but the truth of the matter is, they could work legally for the minimum wage if they came here legally, and they would still be making more money, and they would still be able to actually, you know, make a life here.
No,
They
for
could.
real.
The truth of the matter is this. They have no interest in becoming Americans. They have no interest or desire to becoming an American citizen.
Yeah. No,
That's the problem.
I get that.
And because they have no interest or no desire for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why should we allow them into our country? Why should we vet them?
No,
If
I
they have
get
no
that
interest.
too. Trust me,
Right?
I completely understand that.
Because at that point, all they're doing is taking advantage of our economy and taking our money, and that's it. They're sending it back home to prosper their families and things like that. And I get it. You know, the thing is though, they could still become legal citizens and still do the same thing.
Yeah,
they could still
exactly.
send money back home. But no,
I 100%
no,
agree with that
they
shit.
they just don't want to be Americans, and so, because apparently being an American in everybody else's eye is such a terrible thing.
I mean, it ain't a great thing, but it's not a terrible thing.
Well, I even watched what was it? There was a recent video. You know Cat Williams, right?
Yeah.
He actually got called on by CNN, right?
Yep.
For after he was being harassed by a Mexican.
Yep. He was just being harassed by him.
Yeah, he was being harassed and being a piece of shit during one of the shows
Damn.
because Cat Williams was being patriotic,
Yeah.
right? And the show that he was at was, I think, in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, Arizona, or something like that.
Must be a fire
Yeah.
plant.
And this Mexican dude who was out in the crowd was like, "Oh no, this ain't America. This is Mexico." Right?
Wild.
And he goes, and then Cat Williams just looks at him and says, "It was Mexico, but it's now America. It's USA, motherfucker."
That's
And he
funny.
just started shouting, "USA, USA, USA," and so did everybody else.
Yeah.
But
No,
like,
that shit's funny.
but CNN tried to paint him as racist for doing so.
Crazy.
And he called the reporter out. He answered the reporter's questions, and he said, "No, I'm not. I wasn't being racist. I was being geopolitically correct."
Nah, for real though.
And he said, and I was just taking it as fact. The fact that he was harassing me, I felt like I needed to defend my country and myself because I'm an American and I'm patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with being patriotic for your own country and wanting to defend
for
it?
real. It's not like he was racist towards the dude either.
No, he wasn't trying to be racist at all. But that's what they tried to paint him as.
Mm-hmm.
And then, literally, the CNN reporter said, "Well, do you have any regrets that possibly, you know, this may affect your shows and this may affect your future and so on and so forth?" Cat Williams just said, "Absolutely not." He goes, "Look, if you don't like me, don't come and see me. If you like me, come and see me."
Yeah, no, for real.
He's like, "I'm not going to pretend that I am anything that I'm not. I'm going to call it out how as I see it."
Nah, for real though. That shit's
And it
funny.
left the reporter stunned. He was speechless after that.
Yeah, no. Cat Williams is a funny motherfucker though, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he is. But he's absolutely right though, and I think, like, just the way things I've seen as of late, I mean, for fuck's sake, like, okay, something, like, this is more of a darker topic, but it really does paint the notion of like, I want to say, modern issues, modern
Yeah.
society problems, things like that. And I want to say, like, morals and values that are being brought to question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, something that recently just happened, apparently, Donald Trump actually had a conversation with Prime Minister Carter,
Yeah.
who's the Prime Minister of Canada now, which it's hilarious to me because that guy ran a whole campaign on hating Donald Trump, and then finally he got to sit down next to him and talk with him, and apparently they're now buddies.
Damn.
Wild, right?
Yeah, nah.
Even though Carter hated on the man. Anyway, but they had just got done talking, and apparently they have brokered a deal with each other,
Yep.
and they became good friends. And this was the first time Carter spoke to Trump. But while that was happening, Trump then wanted to make a quick shout out, and he said, "Hey, I wanted to also congratulate Pakistan and India."
Yep.
Because apparently, somewhere along the lines, during that speech, like right before I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, bro.
Yeah.
It was early. That Pakistan and India had brokered a ceasefire and a peace treaty agreement.
Damn.
I know, right? And like, you know, Trump was trying to, you know, say, hey, I want to say congratulations, you know, to the both of you. You deserve it. You need it. Right? And I shit you not, 2 hours after that peace treaty was brokered, by 7 a.m., Pakistan opened fire on India.
Damn. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
And then
actually
as that-
insanity.
Oh yeah, they did a live report like in fucking Pakistan when it happened because they went live as artillery rockets were being fired. You could just see missiles and rockets and shit going off and
Yeah.
flying off in the direction of India. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that's wild.
But why I bring it up as like, hey, this is like a I want to say like a moral and social issue within society today.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite leftist extremist politician, or not even politician, I want to say self-acclaimed news reporter Hassan Piker.
Yeah.
That motherfucker basically got on and did a Twitch stream and started immediately talking about how India is a terrorist country.
Wild.
And I'm like, you know, this guy is avidly on the wrong side of history like each and every time.
Yeah.
Like, this dude glazes all the terrorist organizations out there and tries to say any country that goes against them are terrorists within themselves, and then try to, you know, spout terrorist propaganda.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, the one thing that I have been seeing as of late, which is terrifying, is the fact that that's becoming normal.
Yeah.
And it's more frequent that people are actually falling for it. And it's mostly people, unfortunately, who don't know shit about anything.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking high schoolers to college students, like, who are getting out in the world and just don't know shit about shit at all. And when it comes to that, it's almost as if, like, they do it because they want to be rebellious. Like, they want to be rebellious, and I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I do. I absolutely get it. But
Put them in the fire, Harry.
they're being rebellious for all the fucking wrong reasons, brother.
Yeah, nah, for real.
Like, you're talking about supporting organizations that would gladly kill people like them. In what world does that make sense?
It does
I
it.
ask.
It does to some people, but it doesn't the most.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense at all to support such organizations, and yet we still allow assholes like Hassan Piker to actually, you know, be here in the U.S.
Yeah.
in the United States, because the one thing they try to say is, oh, well, you know, it's freedom of speech. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's still illegal to spout terrorist propaganda, you know, and support terrorists. Right? Like, I don't think freedom of speech covers that. Like, yeah, you can say what you want. You can say what you want about their ideology, their point of view. but absolutely supporting them, right, and giving them a platform to speak on, and posting their propaganda, and just being a radical extremist is not covering of the Second Amendment, or even the First Amendment for that matter. I should say not even the Second Amendment, though I think the Second Amendment is the answer to that. But, you know, but no, in all amount of seriousness though, the man's dangerous.
Yeah, no, it sounds
he's like a plague that is unfortunately spreading his ideology and making other people become extremists, much like him. And that is becoming a new norm that shouldn't be a norm.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because it goes against everything that of what it means to be American and support America, you know?
Yep.
And I know that there's a lot of people from all over the world who would obviously, you know, feel differently because they, you know, they're not Americans. But like, at the same breath, I can sit there and say, well, you know, does your country support terrorism? And most countries don't. So, if your country doesn't support it, why should mine?
For real though.
Why should we tolerate such people?
Congratulations again for winning the Quidditch match.
And honestly, if he wants to support the terrorists so much, I'd say fucking send his ass on a plane ticket. Send him over there.
Yep.
They can have him. They can keep him.
For sure. Fucking definitely.
Just read in the Daily Prophet that Gringotts, the wizard bank, has been broken into.
But, I mean, on a little bit of lighter news, though, there was some good things. Remember how me and you were discussing about the tariffs?
Yep.
Lighter news, China actually, just like Xi Jinping actually went and spoke with Donald Trump.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. How wild is that? Like, the dictator from the CCP went and spoke with Donald Trump for the first time ever. And that's huge because obviously it was about the tariff ordeal, and apparently, despite everything, they actually managed to broker a deal with each other, and Xi Jinping actually managed to get to an agreement.
Yeah.
And now we have a 0-for-0 tariff between each other.
Oh,
meaning
shit.
We can continue to trade. So now goods are going to start flowing in from China again. But they're not to charge us for tariffs, and we are not to charge them for tariffs.
Definitely, that's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Lovely day, don't you think?
So I thought that was, you know, some really, really good news, because I know, like, a lot of people are like, you know, oh, the tariffs are going to hurt us in the long run. It's going to, you know, really bite. And it's like, well, yeah, it sucks because other countries have been tariffing us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to raise the prices a little bit of goods. But, like, the one country that was doing it more to us than anybody else was and is China.
Yeah, no.
And we ended up biting them in the ass because we're their number one consumer.
Yeah.
So the moment we were like, yeah, we're going to charge, you know, a 200+%, you know, tariff tax. It was an eye-opening experience for the Chinese.
Yeah, no, I bet.
Because they were like, holy shit, our number one consumer doesn't want anything from us.
Thanks, Harry. We really needed these. They're for a little joke we're
And that's not even a joke though, like, because 94% of their goods go straight to America.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's a crazy take, but, you know, honestly, oh, 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. Yeah,
Alright.
take this real quick.
You really do have a lightning bolt scar on your forehead.
Please. I've heard there's a secret room around here.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good. I was playing Harry Potter. Huh?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I ended up buying Hogwarts Legacy as well for PC, so I could get the mods. Yeah, it's not bad.
Bro,
What up?
that order was like $80.
Damn.
I know, right?
I mean, it could have been worse.
I mean, I didn't get much. I got 18 items and it was like $80.
Damn.
It's limping quite badly. Come on, Harry. Let's take a look before Filch comes back. Hear that growling?
Oh, I think there's something awful down the corridor.
Oh well. I can only hope that it actually arrives
Tell me on
and
the
arrives
run.
on time,
We'll be late
because
for our Defense Against Dark Arts lesson.
that's the big takeaway, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
Most.
Definitely.
Today, we'll learn to illuminate dark magic with the Lumos spell. Watch my wand. Then hold down the mouse button and repeat the pattern. Release the button when you're done. The house with the most points at the end of the year wins the house cup. 5 points for Gryffindor. Try working faster this time, Mr. Potter. That was spot on, Mr. Potter. 10 points for Gryffindor. And again, Mr. Potter, let's see what you can do. The house with the most points at the end of the year wins the house cup. 15 points for Gryffindor. And again, Mr. Potter, let's see what you can do. Close, but not the correct shape. You may begin the Lumos challenge to practice the spell. Follow me, Mr. Potter. Hold down the mouse button to aim the spell. To cast Lumos, let go of the button. You may practice on that gargoyle. That's quite bright, isn't it? Now you can cross the chasm and collect your challenge stars. I'll meet you at the end.
Dude,
What up?
I just had some really bad news that ran across my feed.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Of course, this involves two-way rights and so on and so forth, but there's a bill.
Yeah.
There's two bills that was being held up in committee.
Mm-hmm.
One was called the Short Act, and the other was called the Safety Hearing Act, and it was basically bills proposed to basically do away with the NFA, right?
Yeah.
The NFA, the National Firearms Act, is an old law, and it's one that is, I would argue, unconstitutional, completely.
Yeah.
Because by and large, it's a money laundering scheme. I mean, it's like take a moment to understand my logic in this. When I say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They try to say that owning things like short barrel rifles or short barrel shotguns or owning suppressors is illegal, right? Okay, well, if it's illegal, then why is it still lawful to buy one, but all I have to do is pay a tax stamp for it and then fill out paperwork that you're not supposed to have? Because understand something. It was universally understood that ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, was not to have a registry for firearms, right? Mm-hmm. Yet that's exactly what they're making. They've been making that for a very long time now. I think 100,000 plus people are currently on that registry list.
Yeah.
I myself included, I'm sure. But they're not supposed to have that. They're not supposed to have it. Yet they've been trying to say, oh, we swear we're not making a registry, right? Mm-hmm. But during President Joe Biden's administration, when he was president, he made what was called the zero tolerance policy.
Yep.
This was a very, very anti-gun thing, but more importantly, he tried to say, well, we're going to go after rogue gun dealers. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but for all those out there who are maybe listening in on this conversation, there's no such thing. There's no such thing.
Yeah, no.
If if you're illegally dealing in guns, you're already not legal, and you honestly are probably on a watch list for the FBI or the CIA or even the ATF at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's be real. But they try to make it out to be like law-abiding gun dealerships are being, quote, rogue gun dealers. Mind you, do you want to know what that zero tolerance policy was for?
What?
It was to close down any firearm store that made a clerical error. So if you mistook an I for an L, right? You didn't dot your I's or cross your T's or whatever have you, right?
Yeah.
When filling out the paperwork, right? Or you put down some misinformation that wasn't correct or something that, you know, wasn't accurate. Even for something as just misspelling something, right? Even someone's name was enough to turn around and arrest the store owners, which were a lot of them mom and pop shops, you know, family owned businesses that just went through all the paperwork. And trust me, they go through amples. Like, if you go to any of your local FFLs,
Yeah.
right, which are your licensed firearms dealers from any gun store, and ask them, hey, what do you have to do to run a gun store? Like, what do you have to do the business? The amount of paperwork and the amount of bullshit and legal hopping just to be able to have a license to say that you're lawfully allowed to sell firearms is astronomical.
Yeah, no.
Have you collected 25 beans?
Okay, and it costs a lot of money too, because I mean, those firearm stores have to buy guns from the manufacturers at a, granted, a lower price, but they have to buy those in bulk.
Yeah.
And then they have to turn around and sell those and flip it for a profit, which a lot of those guns, unfortunately, are not going to sell right away. They're just not.
Yeah.
They're going to sit on the shelves for a long time. We're probably talking 3, 4, 5 years, maybe more. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how they make their income. And yet, the whole idea of the non-tolerance policy was just so that they can put them out of business, and then they can take those 4473 forms from them. Those forms are supposed to be to, you know, they only, most shops can only hold on to them for like 5 years, and then they have to shred them.
Yeah.
Right? ATF recently made it to where you have to hold on to those indefinitely. And then they come and take it when your store goes out of business.
Damn.
So, what do you think they were doing with 60 million 4473 forms dating all the way back to the 1940s?
Yeah. No, for sure. That's fucking... I don't know. That's wild.
Yeah, they took all that paperwork and they made digital copies, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Digital copies that they can control and made into a registry to know where you live, what guns you have, where you bought them from, the serial numbers, everything.
Yeah.
And they did this with the intention of weaponizing that registry because they have been, without question, proactively trying to turn law-abiding citizens into felons.
Points from Gryffindor.
Wow.
Potter, go to the dungeons and fetch the potion.
I'm not making that up.
No, I
okay?
believe you.
Like,
That's crazy.
because recently, in case for all those who also may not know, look at the frames and receivers ruling that they had recently made. Look at the pistol braces ruling that they had made. They took products and items that were legal for more than a decade, more than 2 decades even, right? And tried to turn around and say, you know what? Those are illegal now.
Yeah.
Must be Disney.
And so now everyone who's bought those items is now a potential felon.
Am I?
Damn.
I wonder if Snape tricked me.
So you're telling me that they're not going to absolutely use that registry to go after those people who have already bought such items that were once legal and perfectly fine in their eyes, and then all of a sudden it's a problem overnight?
Yeah, no, that's fucking insane.
But that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to weaponize our information. They've been trying to turn around and go after people, and it's all within the goal of staying relevant, by the way. That's the whole reason they're doing this. Is the reason why they make money, okay, is because they have to stay relevant. For them to do their jobs and make money and get paid, right? They have to do their jobs, right? Well, they're supposed to go after felons and criminals and, you know, gun traffickers, but apparently that's too fucking hard for them to do. So how about they just decide to go ahead and go after people who have already obeyed the law, and by turning them into felons?
That's insane.
Because actually doing their hard work is too hard for them.
Yeah.
From what Amani told me, I think...
I'm not really surprised though, to be honest.
But more to the point on, like, what's happening. We had 2 bills that have been put in the committee. One was the Safe Hearing Act bill, and the other was the short bill, right? And the idea was to remove suppressors from the NFA and to remove short barrel shotguns and short barrel rifles from the NFA as well. That would leave only automatic weapons under the NFA, okay? But they've not apparently 2 Republicans have been holding it up in committee, and now they've been talking about the new revisement of the bill, and the Short Act isn't even on the list. It's not. Mind you, the revisement, the new bill that they're trying to propose, is a 400 motherfucking page bill.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. But I think it was like page 308 or something like that. Yeah, they talk about the suppressors, but they don't even talk about the short bill. It's not even on that list, and they need to put it on that list. But they're trying to say, oh well, you know, we'll go ahead and compromise with you. We'll go ahead and you know, we'll reduce the price and the cost of, like, the tax stamp for suppressors, right?
Yep.
But it stays on the NFA Act.
It's the bloody Baron.
No,
No.
fuck
I don't
that.
think... No. I don't think compromising... We've been... For understanding for those who... We've been compromising our rights away for fucking generations.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think anyone should compromise their right of way. And for all those who may not know what actually shooting firearms is like, let me just say, shooting guns is loud. It is absolutely loud. And now imagine trying to defend yourself inside your own home and busting off a couple of rounds inside your own house.
Yeah, no.
Because you got someone who broke in. Let me just say, tinnitus is a bitch. But you're gonna get real cozy with it, and you're gonna have to probably sleep with the fan on for the rest of your nights. Because you're gonna go deaf for a bit, and it's gonna cause permanent hearing loss. Honestly, the fact that they want to regulate something that can actually protect your hearing and keep you from going deaf or suffering any more hearing loss than you already have, just to make an extra $200.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, for those who don't know, also that's exactly the price that you have to pay for your current tax stamp as of right now. If you want a suppressor, you have to fork over $200. That's not including the probably $400, you know, for the suppressor itself. You know,
Yeah.
you got to pay an extra $200 on top of that. But you know, it's unlawful to have, but perfectly lawful if you pay that $200. See, that's a double standard that honestly, again, that's why I say it's a scheme. It's a money laundering scheme. It's all it's ever been.
Oh, for sure. Still fucking insane, though. But it doesn't surprise me. It's fucking government. They do shit like that.
Well, they've been doing this shit for years now, and you know, for the longest time, I mean, and if anybody wants to look into more information on this, I would recommend looking up Jared from Guns and Gadgets, right? He runs a YouTube channel. Dude's very informative, and he has a lot of information and knows a lot of people who are in the know and actually has contacts within politicians and political aspects of it all. But Jared's a good guy. He's a former police officer, and he's now retired, you know, and this coming July, he's going to turn 50 years old. Okay, think about that. He's going to be 50 years old, and he said, this is the first actual bill that could actually make a serious change within his lifetime, his entire lifetime. And they're trying to hold it up. And they're trying to change it because they don't like the idea of us taking SBRs and SBSs and suppressors off the NFA, which honestly, again, already unconstitutional on its face value, but
Yeah.
barred for me from wanting to save people money for having to pay a tax stamp or have their personal information being weaponized against them. Right?
Yep.
But that's what these bills aim to do. They take that stuff off of the NFA, therefore they can't use it to use information from it to weaponize it against you, and it takes it off of there so that you don't have to pay that egregious tax stamp with it. So, you know, and for all those people who maybe are like, well, you know, what if this gets in the hands of bad people? Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, criminals are criminals. They're going to do what they want to do anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Congress says, regardless of what any bill or paperwork says, if they want to use a suppressor to kill someone, they will make one themselves. Hell, there was a dude in New York who assassinated a CEO of the healthcare system doing just that. Granted, it was a shitty suppressor. But a suppressor nonetheless, and he managed to kill the CEO nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
No amount of paperwork is going to stop criminals from doing what they want to do.
Nah, for real though.
So why restrict yourselves? Why try to justify this by trying to say, oh, well, you know, this will stop people, bad people, from getting a hold of stuff? No, it won't. In fact, I can only think of one crime off of hand. One crime I can think of right offhand that happened in California, where a couple used lawfully paid for suppressors in a crime. One.
Yeah.
And understand the reason why nobody uses suppressors in crimes or anything like that is because obviously they have serial numbers on the suppressor.
Yeah.
The suppressor also is registered when you purchase it at the shop, so you know they keep a file on, you know, what you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if police come to knocking on their door, they can go, "Yep, that person bought this, you know, this such and such day."
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, yeah, suppressors being used in a crime and this being made as an excuse to say we don't need them, that, you know, it'll go into the wrong hands, we just need to stop people from getting it into the wrong hands. That's a non-starter argument. It really is. So I personally think if anybody is interested, they should reach out and contact their Congress representatives. Let them know. Be like, hey, yo, we need to get the Safe Hearing Act going. We need to get the Short Act going. We need to put that all in the same bill and get that passed. Support it.
Yeah. Definitely. That shit's fucked.
Because we got until tomorrow before that bill is decided, by the way.
Damn.
So, you know, fucking get out there, contact your representatives, let them know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Man, this...
That must be dissonant.
Late again, you lazy boy. A further 3 points from Gryffindor should teach you a lesson. I see you've collected a few challenge stars, but I'm afraid they have... I've ended the lesson without you, Potter. The other students are off to the Halloween feast. Join them, if you must.
What's up?
I just saw something that made me laugh. It was too good. Apparently Scott from Kentucky Ballistics got a GM6 Lynx.
Yep.
And he was posted this like 30 minutes ago apparently. But it's a bullpup CQB 50 BMG rifle.
Yep.
Right? And he did a bit
What's that smell?
where Scooter was holding onto it. And he goes, "What kind of rifle is this?" And he goes, "It's a GM Lynx." And at which he goes, "This doesn't look anything like a jungle cat." And then he goes, "No, it's a 50 caliber rifle that's made for CQB." And then at which He goes, this ain't a 50 cal. The barrel's not long enough for that. And then he goes, well, it does extend. You just need to press that button. He goes, shut up, Scott. I know what I'm doing. And he presses the button, and the barrel extends and ends up hitting Scooter in the mouth and knocks him out.
Damn.
Scott
What the
rushes
fuck?
over. Are you okay? Are you all right? And then he ends up picks up the fucking gun, and then he's just like, "Oh, yo, you're perfectly fine. You're okay. It's okay, baby. I got you."
That's too funny.
It is. It was a hilarious skit. I love it. Scott's a riot, man.
Yeah.
I would love to meet him in person, honestly, and shake his hand.
Yeah, no. It's funny. Can't believe it's fucking 5:30 already.
I know, right?
Yeah, no. I've been playing this for a little bit too. That I have no clue.
Do you want me to go down the little bit of the list of what's available?
Sure, why not? Fucking might as well. Give me an idea.
Okay. So there's Trooper,
Yep.
Mentat, and then there is Trooper, Mentat. Then there's Swordmaster, and Bene Gesserit. There are a few other classes that are also added, but they're more like passives.
Yeah.
They're like passive classes, so you won't get them like right away. You have to
Yeah.
pick from one of the alternative or other classes.
I'm not sure, honestly.
But yeah, like Trooper is more of your ranged associated combat class,
Yeah.
right? It's focused in ranged combat. Mentat is also somewhat ranged, but it's more of like strategy. Think a little bit of like crowd control, things like that.
Yeah.
Gathering information, being able to set up turrets and whatnot.
Is he dead?
Bene Gesserit is, think rogue or assassin,
Out of here.
right? They get these mysterious mystique powers that is used from what they call the voice, and they can do things like they can command people to, like, you know, come closer, or even being able to have like super speed, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm your commentator, Lee
But there's also other classes, like I said, that are going to be available that are ones that you're not going to start out with. But you can mix and match abilities from each tree, because you're not limited by your class.
Yeah.
You can go into different trees and so on and so forth. You can mix and match certain abilities and skills, kind of like build your own play style kind of thing if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But they even got like Planetarist. Planetarist essentially is knowing everything about the planet, being able to harvest resources, more resources, and even making you know, more efficient power packs for more energy, efficient energy consumption.
Yeah.
Or even being a machinist, being able to actually repair vehicles, you know, or even making them more fuel efficient, so you can travel further, or even like sand crawlers, right? Like sand crawlers they do spice collection.
Yeah, I remember that shit, yeah.
Yeah, and doing spice collection, you know, you can, with a machinist on your team, you can actually get a higher yield of spice collection as well if you level up Planetarius with all of that. Like there's all sorts of stuff. I hear that there's going to be a Fremen class, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
I hope that is the case. And there might be some additional classes in the future. I also really hope that would be the case. But yeah, no, there's some good stuff from the start.
Sounds sick though. Definitely can't wait to fucking play it. I'm thinking probably like the trooper class sounds cool, and then yeah, like
The trooper class is pretty based from what I understand, and it's got. You can start out with one of the perks that you can get is the sugar wire, and it's like a grappling hook. This will allow you to like traverse terrain a lot more quickly and efficiently